What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Mac and Black Show. I'm Mac.
And I'm Black. What's going on, everybody?
What's
How you
good?
doing today, man?
Doing excellent.
Who we got here with us? Special guest today?
Special guest.
Let's roll. Episode 12. Here we go.
I'd like to welcome our boy Rico to the podcast. What's going on, Rico?
I'm doing good, man. How are you guys?
Excellent, excellent. Welcome to the Mac Castle.
Thanks for having me.
We got a good setup today for the trio here. This is our first time with the 3 mics, and hopefully we did it properly, and I think we did. We're going to have a good night.
Sound check went well. Quality's good.
Cleaned up some of the hard drive space on the iPad, which cut us off last week as far as our visual recording. So another strike in my book as far as getting the tech right for this. It's been a lesson learned each week, each episode, but it's good stuff. Good stuff. But what's going on in your world, Mac? Anything fun?
Usual stuff, man. Work. Hood vents finally up. Progress on the Mustang. Good stuff.
I was driving here today, man. It was really bugging me out to see as many Christmas decorations already out before Thanksgiving as I did. And I'm not a Thanksgiving guy, and we'll talk about this maybe a little bit later, if not the next episode. But you're cheating on Thanksgiving by celebrating Christmas early. You know?
I agree with that, right?
I was actually thinking about it on the way here. You know, for the listener, I actually got to see the Mac Castle and see all the projects that we've heard about for the last 4 episodes. And then while I was doing a little sound check before, I was thinking, I wonder when they're doing the Christmas lights, and what's the winner of the bet gonna do? Or the loser of the bet, sorry, for the winner.
We gotta figure that out still, but like Nick said, I feel like you're cheating out on Thanksgiving if you set up your Christmas lights too soon.
Yeah. Well, we'll let Thanksgiving do its thing, and then you and I will have our competition. And to Rico's point, we still didn't get any feedback as far as the prize for that, and I am not paying to take Mario racing. So you guys better figure some better punishment out.
Do you guys have like a date, like a ceremonious weekend that you're like, hey, this is the weekend lights go up?
I usually wait till after Thanksgiving. So the first weekend after Thanksgiving is when I usually do it every year.
I peg you as a ceremonious weekend guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me.
It's like a continuous reminder in his calendar, probably.
It's my birthday weekend, so
yeah, there you go.
I pour a glass of whiskey and I get on the roof.
It's pretty joyful, I guess, for a birthday. That's a pretty good thing.
It's quiet up there.
I feel like Nick's like, well, shit. If Mario's got his up, I gotta get mine up now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll, as long as I get mine up before the pictures for the contest, I'm good with that. And I'll do the first weekend where it's warm, where there's no Raiders game that's going to interfere with that or anything like that. Yeah, I'll wait till I get home for a few weeks. Plus, I want to see what the competition looks like a little bit before I go on ham on mine.
There's no start date. You know what I mean? It's just an end date.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and I think each
What's
year.
What's that end date again?
Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Nah, we gotta do it.
I thought it was the day of the post.
Well, no, because the day of the post, we let the votes come in, and then we'll probably end it the next podcast either before or after. Probably has to be before Christmas, because I'm also big on once like October 31st for Halloween, November 1st, everything came down. You know what I mean? So I'm big on taking that shit down right away.
The listeners, if you want to get creative and you got some old decorations, you should send them to your favorite podcaster.
Yeah, send him to Black, aka. That's exactly what he's trying to tell you. It's not cheating or stealing.
It's
Mario.
sourcing good material.
Exactly, that's all it is. And again, to that point, I've been kind of going through my Christmas decorations and throwing them out. I think I threw almost all my lights away last year. So, and my wife hates the colored lights, so I know I got to get extra ones.
Oh, my wife too. It's the white lights only. She doesn't like all the colored stuff.
No, I mix it all together, make it look like a hodgepodge.
Somebody asked me that the other day. They said, "Are you a color or a white light guy for Christmas?" And I was like, I don't know. I don't own a house. So
As long
I've
as
never
there's
put
lights.
decorations up.
As long as there's lights.
I think I had one year where we had a Christmas tree, and I think I was living with PJ, and it was because he bought it, and he's like, dude, it's pathetic out here.
Well, when you drive to Mac's house, you got to do some winding and some.
You passed quite a few Christmas trees on the way here.
That was just a little offsetting to me. So I apologize. The holidays obviously are coming around the corner, so hopefully we'll touch on that in a little bit. But most importantly, special guest Rico. You guys might have heard him in an earlier episode. We had talked a little bit about Santeria, so we'll get on that. But always, first and foremost, we're going to talk about listener feedback and do our agenda. All right, so we got one listener email in today, an anonymous one. It's only one sentence, so it should be a nice, bright and brief read. We'll knock that out real quick. And then, like I said, we're going to talk to Rico a little bit. When we have a guest on, we're going to want to make sure we focus on and spotlight them a little bit to make sure we can really, have some good conversation. So we're talking about Santeria. You guys heard, again, some earlier episodes. We had a one-on-one interview with him. We also had done some ad reads for the spot and kind of giving you guys some insight on what it looks like to go there for the afternoon or for dinner. We're going to talk about, how kind of Rico took his passion for cooking and translated that in passion and built a business out of it, and some of the different aspects, caveats, ebbs and flows of that. And then through that, we're going to talk about, again, some of the things that we continually talk about is self-improvement. How do you deal with failure and continue to stay motivated at points in time when, some things might not be going your way. And I know for a lot of us out there, we're always doing a lot of things, so it's really hard to try to keep that in line in a positive attitude sometimes. We'll talk about, how we deal with pressure or stress, when the emotions run high or when the stress is running high itself. We just got a lot of things on the to-do list to do. And then one of the things I'm really excited to talk about is what are some ways that we go outside of the box to prepare ourselves to, air quotes, level up, I don't think, again, a lot of us are necessarily complacent folks in life, so there's always things that we're continuously doing to help ourselves improve in a professional and a personal level. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then if we have time, at the end of the show, we're going to dip into guys' trips, at our age, this day and age with the family life we've got. Rico's in a relationship as well. So we'll, guys' trips, are they pipe dreams or possibilities still? We'll dabble and kind of tiptoe that line. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the Family Act, how you guys manage the holidays between, seeing family on Thanksgiving. If you're married, how do you balance that between, your parents and your in-laws, stuff like that, seeing the different members in your family. And then Max got a trivia remix. I don't think it's necessarily trivia. I'm going to say it's more catchphrase.
Yeah, we'll go into it, but
He had to clear his throat, so that's how you know it's going to be a little complicated.
This is the second time he said we'll go into it, by the way.
Yeah, I tried to get him to explain the rules of it to Rico before the episode, but he wouldn't.
I wanted it to be a surprise. But basically, so as everybody knows, it's usually either you give me trivia or I give you trivia, but I wanted to include our guest.
Well, it's not necessarily trivia.
This isn't, no. But I wanted to do something that included you as part of it.
All right.
So,
Absolutely.
You will be part of it.
All right, cool. All right, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to rip out the first listener email that we had gotten in this episode. It's always a good one. Always a good one. Pull this up. You'd think I'd be prepared by now at this point to forward all this stuff over to me, and I have. Here we go. All right. From anonymous listener, email titled Pod Space Cast. Listen to episode 6 and enjoy. Okay. All right. Cool. They listened to the 6th episode. I like that. Sometimes you are both speaking at the same time. Be aware of that. Anonymous listener.
That was it?
That was it. That was it.
Well,
right and brief.
We've talked about that.
Yeah.
We've gotten a little better. A little bit.
I would also say when we're recording in Black Castle Black, that we don't look at each other. We're looking forward, and that kind of sometimes we don't see that each other is going to go speak and we talk over each other. So we're working on it.
I think it was, at least for me too, when we talk normally amongst each other, we do talk over each other. Sometimes we butt in, and we, at least for me, didn't realize how it was going to come off on the other end.
Listen, we're all from Jersey.
Yeah, that's exactly the problem.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Do it like, we're gonna go out for a bite to eat or whatever after this, and we're gonna talk amongst each other, and you talk over each other, interrupt each other. You don't realize on the back end of a podcast or recording how it does not work at all. So it was definitely after we would listen to the show before we put out the episode, we're like, we gotta knock that off, and we've gotten better, but I still do it from time to time.
Yeah, and it's something that we're going to just continually need to work on. So We'll be good. We'll be good. It'll be all right. All right, so let's get right into the swing of things here. We've got Rico, and let's not hesitate any further. So, Rico, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Trying to be better than I was yesterday.
One day at a time. That's all we can take, right? One day at a time. All right. So, as I alluded to earlier, we have talked a lot about Santeria on this podcast, and rightfully so. It is one of the dopest restaurant spots in the world, especially for that Mexican taco authentic experience. So why don't you tell people who haven't heard, maybe they only started listening in episode 12, a little bit about what Santeria is, how you got started, and what we did this summer, or you did.
Yeah, well, we did it, I heard all those guest ad reads. Those were
happy
fun.
to give the shout out, man.
So for those of you that don't know, my name is Rico. I'm first generation in America, and as cliche as that sounds, my father's Chilean, my mother's Cuban, and I've been cooking since I was tall enough to reach the stove, I think.
That's pretty badass. I cannot say that at all.
Professionally, I started washing dishes. It's the real, rags to riches story, I guess, and then I worked my way all the way up. I have a killer resume over the years of different places I've worked, different events that I've done. And it became time around, right around I was trying to finish up college that I got an opportunity to open a restaurant on the Seaside Boardwalk, and I did it without hesitation. It was definitely a very big undertaking that I probably was not entirely ready to comprehend what it was going to take, but I just put my head down and went to work.
Amen. And I think that's how a lot of people just have to get started, right? 9% of life is showing up, and sometimes you just got to go for it. I like that.
I gotta say though, to be able to have that spot, like some people open up stores, restaurants, or maybe, and the location isn't the right, but for the location you had, couldn't have been any better. And what you did with the restaurant, the design, the art, all the stuff inside, I'm still a huge fan of how you had the taillights of the Corvette on the wall. It's one of my favorite things, and the Biggie painting and everything. What you did with it was perfect. It looked amazing.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's, every time I hear it, it's humbling. The space we had, I was looking, me and my old boss at the time from Chop Shop Barbecue, for those of you that are day ones.
Shout out.
Shout out to Vinny. He runs it and owns it now. So we were looking for 2 years for a place. So by the time I found where Santeria was, we actually held the space for a year because we didn't sign the lease until like May. So we didn't have enough time to build it and convert it. So we worked out a deal where we just held it for the summer. And then this way we were, all summer I was working at Chop Shop, but I had tons of notes in my phone of, thinking, and we were tweaking things on the special menu over there to see what would sell. And then we converted a retail space to a restaurant. So I'm not sure if anybody knows in the building world, but that's a very huge undertaking. And halfway through we were trying to decide, do we kind of stay within budget or do we just go for broke and build the dopest spot anybody's ever seen? And I think we nailed it.
Yeah, you landed on the moon, man. You got there. Mission achieved. What was some of the hardest parts outside of like securing the space and like going through with the ideas? What were some of the harder parts of getting that established?
I would say just the process. I mean, building a space was like an entire other job. I'm sure you guys know because you're project managers, but it was, we were doing the work ourselves, plus, running the project, and that's a project you just don't, we're kitchen guys. We didn't know how to do it.
Well, and to speak to that, like I have gone and set up bare bone spaces into office retail spaces, like you're talking about. You got your network cabling, your outlet, electrical pieces of it, and your small structural spaces with the walls. But then to amp it up to where you have ovens, right? You have to be able to shield all that off, and the serving space, eating space, restroom, the whole nine. And that's.
And then just understanding sequence. Like my partner Keith, he was in the construction company business. He was a commercial painter, still is. So he kind of it was a lot on the fly, but he definitely helped a lot with sequencing and how to do things and when to fire on certain things. And I still remember to this day, we were doing framing, and he turns to me and he goes, "All right, dude, how big is the kitchen?" And I was like, "Shit, what do you mean, how big is the kitchen?" He goes, "Well, we're going off that wall. How far do you want me to come?" I'm like, "I don't know. How far do we got?" He goes, "As much as you want. It's a blank canvas." And then I'm like, "I don't even have a menu, dude. Like, what do you, I don't even know what I'm cooking. I don't even know the equipment." And he goes, "Well, you got till noon tomorrow." And plus we had to do all the tasks that were on the list that day. Did all that. I went home, showered, and just popped a Red Bull and just got to work on designing a kitchen without a menu. And it was the most nerve-wracking thing. And then I got there the next day, did some brief layouts on the floor, and I turned to him and I go, 18.4 feet.
There you go.
And we nailed it. I changed the kitchen. I changed the configuration once after we opened, because then you gotta, like, the sprinklers, they have to go all over open fires. You can't just change that. You can't, it'll cost you money if you start changing anything that's under the hood. Plus, the hood is a major component to cost. So how long do you need that? Are you putting extra stuff under that hood that you don't need, you could get away without? So it was definitely nerve-wracking, but hindsight's 2020, and looking back to those things, it's humbling knowing that I nailed it first go around.
That's what's up. Was there some type of plot or a plan that you had used for your basis for it? Like, I need 2 stovetops, 1 freezer.
Not. No, absolutely not. I've worked in very, very, like, call it bottom of the barrel kitchens that are just kind of barely surviving. In terms of, like, capacity and what you have in there equipment wise. And then I've worked in Prudential Center where it was, their kitchen was $1 million kitchen.
You worked in the Prudential Center?
Oh yeah.
Oh shit.
I worked in Prudential Center when during Devil season, and the Nets were there right before they went to Brooklyn.
I gotta ask though real quick. So you went from a retail space to a restaurant.
Oh yeah.
How crazy were the challenges? Permits, licensing. Because a retail, you're dealing with food now. You're dealing with food. You're dealing with fire.
And so many utilities in a small space.
You're not just hanging clothes up. Like that's got to be.
And I'm sure it's not just dealing with multiple departments.
Yeah.
It's dealing with the bureaucracy of every department.
Yeah.
So, to be honest,
No patience.
shout out to NJIT Bursar's office for teaching me how to work bureaucracy.
A public institution, nonetheless.
But those, when all your roughing's done and you got your inspections, and they're not trying to pass you or give you, like, we did partial release on permits because it was just such a fast turnaround, and we didn't really have, anything set in stone yet. So we had walls, everything finished. We're ready to drywall, and they stonewalled us for a month.
Yeah.
They stonewalled us for a month, and it was an integral month because it was between February and March, and I was trying to open by mid-April.
That's the problem with capitalism, and bureaucracy stands in the way.
Well, there's so many codes and.
Yeah, I mean the health
regulations.
department definitely adds a whole different layer into it.
Yeah.
And then
Was that bathroom you had to build from scratch?
we built it, and then we actually tore it down the next day because I did some research that night and realized we did not build it to code for the health department.
Because a restaurant, you serve food, so you have to have a bathroom.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well,
and
and that too.
then there's other things like I'm sure a lot of people don't know this. I'm sure a lot of business owners don't know this. For the fire certificate, you have to claim how many people you can fit in your establishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's an equation for square footage per table and how many people you can fit in that square foot.
Yeah, they milked that stuff for COVID.
But if you have, I think it's from 1 to 49 inside, you can do 1 bathroom. Once you get to 50, you have to have 2 bathrooms. So
they added a fake oven or something in there.
I could have fit a table. I could have. And I ended up doing the certificate for 49.
Yeah.
And then I kept calling and having to find out, like, hey, I got a patio that fits another 30 people. Oh, well, that's a different certificate, but I didn't need the bathroom for it.
So it's
So
outdoor.
yeah, we slid right through.
That was perfect.
That's
And
crazy.
that was learning as you go.
Oh yeah.
What was your favorite part of the whole process, the whole thing? Day to day, starting it up? Would you pick one piece? I know it was probably very tumultuous, but
Honestly, from just cooking, you kind of time is irrelevant. You know, like it's just all right. If I need to pick this up on the line for the order fast, I have 3 or 4 things in my back pocket I could do.
yes,
so,
chef.
Yeah, so time's irrelevant. Or I'll cook 3 of the same thing because I know I'm gonna botch one, and just make sure that I have enough. So just the amount of tasks that I knew I had to do that seemed just like if I had to think about it, I'd be overwhelmed. So
Well-
if it wasn't for Keith, my partner, to give, I'd sit down with him every night. We'd make a list. I'm like, okay, tomorrow, that's what I'm tackling. And then I'd put my head down, get that tackled, and then that night I'd think about, okay, what's down the road that I gotta do? And, you know, just putting your head down and kind of carving it out and chiseling it out day by day. And then, you know, like I said, we were delayed a month. Paint was literally drying while we let customers in for our friends and family night. And I remember tickets were down the printer, hitting the floor. And Keith stops, he hits me and he goes, dude, stop. Do me a favor. I go, what? He goes, look out to the dining room. And I go, what, dude? I can't. He goes, just do it, dude.
Remember.
And he goes, take this in. He goes, this is what you worked for the last 8 months. He goes, this is why you did it. Take this in because you're not gonna, you know, after today, you're gonna go right into your restaurant role where you're comfortable and you're just gonna keep your head down and start a whole new tasks of things.
Did it feel like that? Like you made it when
Yeah.
you did it.
Oh yeah, dude. It was like I felt like I was at the top of Mount Everest, and
Certainly looked like.
I definitely wanted to. Well, the dining room was raised. Or the kitchen was raised to the dining room. I think the best decision we ever did was cut that hole in the wall to see through because I picked up so much like body language. You know, like I really felt like I had total control of the restaurant because I was in the back cooking, but also I was running the dining room because I was able to watch and see different things, call my employees to do different things, and it was definitely a lot of value added just doing that.
No, absolutely. I mean, oversight, and just seeing what's going on allows you to have a peace of mind. And I can tell you from, you know, right now going into Santeria, we'd walk up, cash register, give me, pick 7 tacos. You see Rico right in the back, man, right in behind that counter in that kitchen, busting his ass. He'd come out when he had a moment, make sure to crack him a nice Corona. And, yeah, man, I'd look at you and I'd be like, I know there's 10,000 things going through your head right now, and I'm going to say what's up to you. How you doing? You'd be like, I'm good. And boom.
Dude, it's crazy. I will say one of the things like that I just did not realize while I was doing this whole thing was, you know, I was signing up to be a business owner. And I always knew like I wanted to. I've always had that kind of niche in myself, but you don't really realize some of the situations you're going to put yourself in, and nobody will ever prepare you for it. Nobody will ever prepare you for it. I have friends now that are starting businesses that I'm watching them go through that learning process, and it's like, you know, I'm out in the dining room, you come up, you're like, hey man, how's it going? And 10,000 things in my head. I could have an employee that walked out on me that day, a vendor that's kind of, you know, screwing me, or I didn't get certain product, whatever the case may be. It could be my work. Rome could be on fire. And because I know that you're your shot in front of other customers, I got to just put a face on and say, hey man, it's the best day I ever had.
Well, it's that analogy, man. You gotta be the duck, right, on top of the water. So you're just cruising and floating. In the bottom, your feet are flapping like crazy to get to where you need to go. That's the face you gotta put on.
That's a callback to another episode, I think, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the easiest metaphor. I like to use stupid metaphors all the time and get tongue twisted.
I really
and
like that
stutter.
one. It's better than the iceberg to me.
Yeah.
It's how you handle chaos.
Because there's
right?
motion going on under there. It's not just the iceberg is big, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. Progress is happening. So, to talk a little, obviously you have an extreme passion for cooking. I can't. For the time you can reach a counter and stand up, I can do maybe 1% of the things in the cooking menu. I know Mac is much better with it. You cook everything too.
I enjoy cooking. Yep. Yeah. My dad cooks a lot. Learned a lot from him, but I love
Do you make pasta from scratch?
No. I wish I had time for that. My dad used to from time to time when I was little, but no.
I think it was 10 or 11 where you guys were talking about your cooking, and I'm like, the whole time I'm like, I wonder if he makes pasta from scratch.
No, I'd like to. My wife actually bought my dad a pasta maker to do it, but he's done it like once. But he is a good cook. I think I have talked about it before, where he has he's first generation right off the boat, and he has his mother's cookbook. That's in Italian.
Yeah.
So some of the stuff, I mean, you've had the clams and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So he's a good cook, and I got a little bit of that from him. But I enjoy it.
I was thinking about that, and I was like, dude, I got to start my own cookbook because I don't have one.
Yeah,
And you know, the old time is that like that mentality of like, you know, I hate to say it, but the mother had the cookbook and she'd write it down, little index cards, whatever it was. But I'm like, I don't even write my shit down, and half the time I'll be like making something brand new that I've never made before.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my mom has like the cookbook that she's gone through and used, and I mean, definitely for you guys that enjoy cooking, I think that'd be something cool, especially for you to teach your kids, or Rico, for you to pass on, because I don't know how to do any of that stuff. And I make fun of guys that don't know the difference between a ratchet or a wrench, but I don't know the difference between how to cook a scallop.
Honestly,
or
if you're a
mussel.
single dude, right? And I'm recently off the market, but if you're a single dude,
Cross them off your list,
and
ladies.
you don't know how to cook, the only thing you should do is Google Gordon Ramsay's scrambled eggs and make it and learn how to make just that. And you can handle any other recipe you have. And also, if you're cooking for a lady, they usually like cheesy scrambled eggs. If you cook it the way Gordon cooks it, which is perfect scrambled eggs, you don't need cheese. They'll
Now-
never know the difference.
Now I got a question here. Is it difficult? Are you saying if you can cook that, you cook anything because it's difficult, or because it's basic enough where you can expand and they'll just love you for
It's
one meal?
basic enough that you can screw it up easily, and it's difficult enough that you need an attention to detail. But
Which you should do with cooking.
I started cooking professionally with breakfast, which I never really cooked at home. And actually, I lie. I used to make, my favorite thing was just make scrambled eggs with a bunch of ingredients in them, like kitchen sink stuff.
Yep.
And I realized later on, after I cooked professionally, that my scrambled eggs were severely overcooked. And, you know, I was just probably doing disservice to myself making it that way. But the timing for breakfast is so tight that, and the customer is so irritable. Nobody goes out to dinner and has the amount of requests that they have like they go out to breakfast, and their entire plate of just over easy eggs and home fries, you have a paragraph of how they want it.
Think about that. I love cooking breakfast on the weekends, but you're right, timing is key, because like you want everything to come out at the same time.
Yeah.
You want everything to come out hot. So like I have a little method to my madness when I cook, which now you got me self-conscious about my eggs here. But you know, you got to start the bacon first, because it takes a little longer. You get the pan hot enough, the egg cook quick.
Now you could do the bacon at the same time you pop it in the oven.
I'm not that good. I'm not that good. But I do have it come out. I've mastered it, at least the way I do it. It all comes out at the same time.
There you go.
So the bacon, the eggs, the toast,
Dude,
everything coming out at the same time.
Mac, you know what we need to do one time this summer? I think we need to have Master Chef here, like give us an
Yes.
itinerary and him make us run through the stuff. Yes, chef. Got it, chef. All right, I'm coming up with that. 15 minutes, chef.
I am available for hire to cook teaching.
No, we don't,
classes
not for
sure.
hire. Or not for hire. Well, yeah, we'll go
We'll
out,
hire
no
him-
problem.
hire him
Yeah,
for
for
a
that.
cooking
I mean,
Absolutely.
I'll do it for you guys for free for sure, but
I would never
you know,
hire you for a
obviously-
party. I want you to enjoy it.
well, you know, I'm just saying for the other listeners out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. No problem with some plugs.
But
Like
anyway,
that.
the breakfast, once you cook dinner professionally, the timeline is just so stretched out, because you take ingredients and you could take them half of the way there and get ready for service, and then, you know, it's just a pickup. You know, you just pick up, like, you know, you blanch the asparagus, now you got to saute it. You know, and then you're out the door. So everything just elongated, but breakfast teaches you the time constraints, and it's a lot more condensed, and it teaches you how to stay focused on quality, because things could go very wrong very quickly.
I think that applies to all my cooking. I do just breakfast, and that's I think the only thing I do well. I can cook it like I'm like you. I put when I make eggs. What's in the fridge I can put in these eggs? Anything. I love when I get Mexican. That's the best. Just throw it in there, heat that up. All right, I'm down with that. So deviate a little bit from the cooking route here. So Rico, I've known you for let's see, I think going on a decade now at this point probably, and I know you to be a man of many talents. If you had the free time to focus on something outside of cooking, what's another one of your passions or something that you feel you'd love to, delve back into, maybe because you don't have the time, or something you'd like to maybe start to open up a little bit more on?
You mean in terms of hobbies or like professionally?
Entrepreneurial, hobbies, whatever floats your boat.
I mean, I like to think that most of my hobbies I tend to find a financial reason to do it, because if not,
Those are the best.
Time is money, baby.
I will say though, when I had Santeria, I built a little workshop in the basement for the winter, and I used to, I never really accomplished anything because it was all pipe dream, but
That's what workshops are for.
I tried to, I built a sweet workbench out of all recycled materials. It was so sick. But I would definitely love to get into like woodworking and that kind of stuff. It's definitely
Was that the Tim Allen? Did I do that right? From Home Improvement? No, I can't do it.
Definitely not. But I would get into that because it's just those kind of tedious tasks. I think it relates a lot to cooking, and when you get to see the final product, that's what you're doing all those tasks for.
I completely agree with that. I only have I just brought back the Instagram, which you guys heard back last week, but I have Snapchat, and some of the woodworking stuff that you can find, I get sucked in. It's amazing what some of these guys can do with the lathes and the spinners and with
reels?
these chisels. I bought my own chisels, a brand new chisel set from Ace the other day, just because I wanted a straight up nice set that wasn't rusted like I had.
The reels on construction, I get sucked
Reels on
into them
construction,
all
that's
the
it.
time. Like little shortcuts, tips, tricks.
Mm-hmm.
I follow one. He takes like broken furniture or something like that and
Redoes it.
redoes. He had like a old coffee table with a broken leg, and how he chiseled out the broken piece, added in the new piece, put on the leg, and was able to stain it and like spray it, and you would never know. Like adding the dowel in it and everything.
Yep.
I didn't know you could do stuff like that. It's amazing what some of these guys do.
Yeah, those are. I want to try to accumulate some of those tools in the way you and I, right? Again, for free. Like, where can we, when I get older, those are things I like to try to spend a little bit of my time trying to do.
Yeah.
But I completely agree. Woodworking. I never thought I'd say that, but yeah, I completely agree with you. That's something I would also want.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where you don't have to dove a ton of time right then and there. You could do it over a couple weeks, a month.
I always think of the. You ever see the movie The Patriot, where Mel Gibson's building a chair, the rocking chair, and he can't build it properly in the beginning, and he just breaks it. But yeah, it's definitely something I would love to get into. So I feel that. All right. So moving on to our next topic, we asked Rico to prepare some questions for us, or some topics to make sure that we could, speak to some things that he wanted to.
Can I do a little intro to that?
You absolutely can. This is your rodeo, buddy.
All right,
Ride
so
the bull.
you guys are providing the hospitality. It's great.
Love it.
So just a little recap. So after I had
And Rico, we're going to take a quick time out here.
You could have said no.
Oh, good. I was gonna call one of you.
What do you mean?
I didn't want you to pause because I wanted to drink.
Oh, I kind of had to pee.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were doing it.
I think Rico needed a quick
gotta
second.
pee.
I was gonna ask now. I just wanted to know.
That was good.
I'm gonna piss too then real quick. Wait, I'm gonna pour some fresh drinks.
Yeah.
Cool. I have a good one.
You
by
feeling
the way.
okay?
Yeah.
Right?
This is
I like it.
amazing.
I like it.
Amazing.
We're
There's
doing
water in
okay.
there, help yourself.
I was gonna go back into. I realized late. I never even told them what the summer was. I just told them about Santeria.
Oh, that's right.
I'm like shit.
Okay, well,
So I was gonna go back into.
we'll go back into that.
No, I was gonna say since I closed that one, I got into construction, became a project manager, and then in the summer, I did a pop-up restaurant while doing that.
Well, okay, perfect. As long then perfect, then we're good. Yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden I'm managing 2 projects. Perfect. That's a lot of focus, dude. I don't know how some of these, like Joe Rogan does his shit in like 2.5 hours.
Because Joe Rogan's on his whatever it's called, a drug or whatever he takes.
This shit
Mario took it.
doesn't work.
I know it doesn't work.
I tried it.
It's trash.
Oh, I just want to give a little context to the questions that I prepared for these guys. I've been listening to the podcast since number 1.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
Honestly, it's become a ritual because we don't get to talk every day anymore. So, you know, in order to find out what's going on in your lives, I feel like I can listen to it while I'm driving around. And,
I like that.
It's, you know, it's a way to pass time. But, so, I had the place on the boardwalk for 4 years. I had to close due to COVID.
I hate COVID so much.
Yeah, honestly, it was a very unfortunate situation. But I pivoted from there and dove into a completely new industry. I went into the construction industry and I became a project manager. We do residential and some small commercial fit outs. And over the last 2 years, I've been doing that, and it's been, I've exploded and excelled at it, but I'm pretty much self-taught in this arena. So with that, this past summer, I got a hell of an opportunity to open up a pop-up restaurant inside of somebody else's restaurant. You know, shout out to my friend Jackie from Safu Sushi in Tom's River. She's the one who hooked it up, thought about me immediately.
That's who does the sushi with you there?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my! When I went in there for the pop-up, I thought that was one of the coolest things. And it was, I would get sushi and
Yeah.
then your Mexican stuff. That was great.
So I did a pop-up restaurant, but I did it while holding my, you know, full-time job as a project manager. So a lot of your first episodes really hit home in terms of, you know, how do you manage everything plus a home life or a work-life balance. And it was obviously the labor of love is a restaurant, but you know, the day job was where all the stress was, and it just felt like I was, you know, going back to putting my head down and asking a lot for myself to get through it. But I came up with these questions because I thought you guys, you know, when you talk about work, I get it, you don't want to get too into it, but I want to talk not so much about the good days at work, but, you know, let's just dive right into it. My first question is, what is, and this obviously is a project manager, but what was your biggest work disaster and how did you process that failure? Like, how'd you deal with it? Did you, obviously, you know, I'm sure we learned from it, but what steps did you do? Did you have a mentor that kind of guided you with some advice? What stuck with you from that failure to set yourself up for, obviously, we know we're not perfect. The next failure you have, how do you make sure that it doesn't maybe hit you emotionally so hard or things like that?
I'm gonna let Mac answer that question first. I just want to comment on 2 things. Rico, you said you switched it up to be a PM. I mean, what you do in the kitchen, right? What you do with the restaurant. I think we innately all do project management within our day-to-day lives in a lot of aspects we don't necessarily normally associate with project management, what we're doing. And I think that's why probably you've excelled to this point in what you're doing. So I just wanted to say that point. Now, Mac, I'll let you answer that question. I definitely don't want to talk about my failures first.
Well, this is before my project management days. So I took a little notes when we had the itinerary. I've had a few disasters in my current role, don't get me wrong, but I thought I had one you guys would enjoy. So I used to work at a glass shop before I did solar. We were working on an apartment building. It was like 6 floors on the Hudson. It was single bedroom apartments and 2 bedroom apartments. $500,000, $1 million. And we used to not only do glass, we did the shelving inside the closets, and we had a template. It was a 1/4-inch drill bit on a drill. You would line the template on the wall and just do your drills. You'd hit a stud every now and then. So now we're working overtime. It's about 6 o'clock on like a Wednesday. I'm going along in this closet, stud. And I'm, ready to drill through the stud. Wasn't a stud. 3/4-inch water line. Hit it. Water came shooting out. I was, oh my God, what am I gonna do?
I'm having
Water-
secondhand anxiety.
Water is going from the closet, smacking the window across the room. Now
You created a water feature.
I'm in a giant condo. Like, there's a hallway with 1 million condos in it.
Is there condos above that condo?
There's condos above. There's
Oh.
four.
You just ruined
Four
someone's
floors
shower.
below.
And they're finished condos, people living in them.
No, not living, but they're like, some have carpet, sheetrock, appliances.
finished.
Oh, so they're getting ready to be
So
moved in.
I run, our boys Sean and Mike are in another room. I'm like,
Glass is
I just did a
always
water
nice.
line. What do I do?
Fucking Glazers.
We don't know. Where's the shutoff? Where's the shutoff? You're in a giant building.
It's usually at the bottom.
The basement.
Well, I was young. It was my early 20s. I didn't know.
But in your
So,
house, where would you go?
I find these guys.
Where, you go to the attic? Is the water
Well,
meter up here?
I was young. So I find these guys doing spackling, right? And I'm like,
Oh, they're the best bunch.
but
They
so,
must know the whole
you know what?
building.
They know more than we do. So they start taking their
Apparently.
hammers and they're slashing the drop ceiling down in the hallway, trying to find a shutoff, just knocking down the drop ceiling.
The brain
Finally
trust
get it
over
off.
there.
So the next day, we go back to finish working, and I see them pulling out like carpets.
Wait, what's the back like? Did you have to like notify your boss about
Oh, yeah.
this?
Yeah.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you went
Because
from,
then
from
upper
ripping out
levels,
drop
upper
ceilings.
levels are talking to other upper levels. I'm sure
Well,
there
yeah,
were back
basically it was
charges
the
coming out.
company, the company I worked at. Hey, one of your guys effed up, and this is how bad he effed up. I'm surprised they sent me back the next day to work at that place. But I remember going back, and I didn't get fired. I don't
Finding
know how.
mediocre help is hard these days.
Yeah, I
Can I
don't know
ask you
how
a
I didn't lose
question?
my job. Yeah.
So they had that drill. He must have drilled in, I don't know, 400 studs. You didn't think at any point that was a little bit odder, that you had to put a little
Well, so here's the
muscle into
thing.
it?
I went back, and I went to the room.
You went to back to
the
scene of
clamp?
crime.
The clamp where they strapped the water line to the stud was a 1/4 inch below where I went through. So it didn't budge when I, so I thought it was a stud. It didn't move. It didn't have flex to it.
That's the
in
point.
between. Well, no, it's not strapped every.
Honestly, in my mind, from my professional opinion, thank
Right.
God it was clamped, because if you would have just drilled a little bit and it was flexing and you closed the pinhole,
Yeah.
Oh, that would
that
have
would have been a lot
People would have
worse.
moved in a year later.
Yeah.
Like,
That would have been
the next
insurance
day,
claims
mold.
out the ass.
Dude, the next day, wet sheetrock was coming out. There was water in the
Do
lobby.
you know what happened? Like, did your shop have to pay?
I don't know if it went through insurance. Well, I don't know. I never.
It has to go through insurance.
I never got like I didn't get fired. I didn't get any repercussions. It was just like they talked to me about it. I was like, this is what happened. I'm sorry, but literally, carpets, sheetrock, appliances. Yeah, that was my biggest work
So,
disaster.
how did you deal with that? Other than going to work the next day.
I don't think you
Tell
really
you
cared.
what, tell
I
you
don't
what,
think you really cared.
Well, at that age, I don't care as much. But I'll tell you what, I was sure enough. When I hit something, when I drilled, I was like, I was scared. You know what I mean? Anything I hit that was hard, I was like, I don't know, this is really a stud. It was definitely lesson learned. I've had another incident actually a few years ago. I hit a gas line with a drill.
I remember you calling me that.
Yeah, I hit a gas line in a home.
That was
I had to-
you?
I had to get
I thought that was one of your guys.
No, we were drilling
They
through
make fun of
plywood,
you more now.
sheetrock, and another thing, and we were doing self-tapper screws, and
Did you have to put the family in a hotel?
no, nothing like
So-
that. I had the fire company come out, the gas company come out. They put a coupling on and fixed it right away. But yeah, I had 2 incidents with pipes in my years of construction, and you definitely learn from it. That's for sure. But you deal with it with a little bit more caution. Tell you what, nowadays when we're putting stuff in the walls, like equipment on the walls on the interior of the homes, looking on the outside a little bit where the gas meter is, and where those lines go in, where the utility meter is, where that service cable goes into the home, and I actually got some heavy duty stud finders that detect
Like X-rays?
yeah,
Yeah.
we got one of those. because I actually surprisingly wasn't one of the only ones that has done something so dumb. So
Do you deal with the client at all?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm the supervisor, so I'm the one that has to talk to the
Walk me
client.
through your biggest work disaster in terms of client.
So yeah, I
Process, systemic management, like that kind of. Because we all have war stories of
mess ups.
not hitting a water pipe.
Can I take this one, Mac?
No, I had one a couple years ago. Being a project manager, it wasn't me that was on site that did it, but we were working in a main panel and the main breaker went. A few days before Christmas, super cold out, and my guy called me. He's like, "Hey, the main breaker's broken. I can't get power to the home. It's cold. It's a few days before Christmas." So I scrambled trying to find the breaker. It was an old panel, couldn't find it. To replace the panel would have took hours upon hours. It was just a disaster. Whoever did the original electrical just jam-packed his panel with everything. So I actually set the home up with a generator. So we were able to get the heat and at least half the house powered. I bought the family dinner, and I wasn't just pizza. Like, what restaurant do
Was
you
this
want?
covered by the company, or did you do this out of pocket?
No, company card and stuff.
Okay.
Let my management know, like, hey, this just happened on site. I had to call an emergency electrical company, and it cost me $8,000 for them to emergency replace the main panel in the home. It was a 200 amp service with a sub panel that was just filled to the gills with tandem. If you guys know electrical, tandem breakers, so that's
Oh yeah.
filled up with a sub panel. But to have them have
8,000 is actually pretty cheap.
they had they had children in the home. A few days before Christmas, it was like 8 at night. We were doing a battery system, but yeah. So basically, I didn't just order pizza. We ordered restaurant food. And they told me they wanted like, I'm gonna take a steak. I was like, well, I'm gonna get you calamari. I'm gonna get you grilled steak. I'm gonna get you matcha. I went.
So you get a
nuts.
steak?
I got them. They ordered like 3 things. I ordered them like 15. Went overboard. We made sure they had power overnight, but it was a disaster. And truly, it wasn't our fault. It was a faulty system, but we touched it. We own it, and we're gonna make it right for the customer and for the homeowner, and that's what we did, and that's how I handled it. And overall, they were happy with how we handled it, and they got an $8,000 panel out of it.
So I'm sure. Well, actually, Nick, let me hear yours.
So as a PM, I got a few things that have kept me up at night. I think there's always a cloud of doubt over every PM's head that they continually live with. I can say as a crew leader back when I did pools, when I was a pool man, young pool boy.
We're going back.
We're going
Way back.
Those days that shaped me, made me who I am today.
I ain't back to the streets.
When I was in school, or when I was a pool guy, I did it for 4 years.
He was a high school pool boy.
No, never. I was in college.
That's a good picture I got in my head, though.
For what?
High school Nick, pool guy.
No.
Is that why your wife started dating you, pool boy Nick?
No, she made
That's
one.
why she started, but she didn't stay for
When
that.
I first started dating her, she made one bad pool joke about me, like, "Oh, you retired your skimmer net," and I was like,
We use vacuums now, babe.
I wasn't the lifeguard. I was the guy that was doing the whole 9 behind the scenes.
I used to be the pool lifeguard.
Yeah, you would be the pool lifeguard with
Sure.
your little pecs and your small legs.
Let's stop.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, when we would get ready for like summer, right? You had to open up all the pools, and it was a commercial pool company, so we had about 350 pools in the tri-state area. So, when the summer would end, or my school year would end, I would go and I'd get back right into pool season. That was my full-time summer gig, and I'd get the pools ready for opening. So we went to this pool up in North Jersey. It was a pretty big pool, and they had just gotten a brand new liner the previous season. So my boss had told me to put in 5 gallons of liquid chlorine. For some reason, I heard 5 carboys. 1 carboy is 5 gallons. So I poured 25 gallons
Oh my god.
instead of 5
This is
gallons.
juicy.
You bleached the pool.
He's
No,
look
well,
at,
me-
listener. He's holding his stomach.
Yeah.
He's feeling that moment.
I can still
right
picture
back.
myself in the office telling
This is
him that
why
I did
asked
this.
question.
Because I was like, so I poured the 25 gallons of liquid chlorine. Me and my crew, right? All the guys, Nestor, Juan, Pablo. They're all helping me doing the thing. And
Were they talking fast in Spanish like this? Fucking
No,
guy's
no,
messing
we
it
were-
up already. Like,
No, they were the best. They were the best guys I ever worked with. I love that I was able to work with them. No, they all took a carboy, went around the pool, did what I told them to do, and that pool turned from green to turquoise like instantly, man. And I was like, dude, is this the trick? So we super coordinate pools. So I get back to
Ooh, so you realized that you were pouring a lot,
yeah, it was bad.
but you didn't want to ask again.
So I got back to the office and I go to my boss. I'm like, hey man, why'd you teach me that trick before? He goes, what trick? I'm like, put 25 gallons of chlorine in the pool. He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, you said put 25. He goes, no, I said put 5. And I go, no, I think that I turned that liner a different shade color of blue. It was originally like giants.
It was probably white.
It was sky blue.
Did you guys do that liner? Or no?
Yeah, we had done the liner.
Okay,
and
so it was
thankfully,
work you owned.
yeah, but thankfully, like the
They liked the color.
they didn't.
They live with it.
They appreciated, I think, that we owned it, and I don't think that it was an issue going on there forward. As far as a project manager problem, one of the things as a project manager that you have to be cognizant of in professionally is that you're not responsible for any specific certain task. You should be moving progress along, making sure work is being done. Where you can mess up is mathematics on change orders and change requests. I've sent some documents before and then done a mathematical error on them. Where I've now got it signed and now have to walk it back to the customer, and necessarily sometimes you can't. We signed it, this is what you sent us, and
Or you said some verbal statement, and then when you go back to really do the nitty gritty, you're like, damn, I know now. I know what it looks like. I
Yeah.
know what it's gonna look like.
absolutely. So yeah, been in meetings before where you're put on the spot and you have to speak to something you can't give. Let me give you an answer later, type of response. I signed a $28,000 change order one time without a customer signing a change order, and we take that $28K hit. Yeah, it's things like that that keep me up at night. Things like that make me train my team on due diligence. Right? I'm not looking for a 98 on the spelling test. I want 100% on the spelling test. Right? We're professionals. I hire you guys to be professionals, right? I don't want to see mistakes unless they're things that we can't handle or things we've never seen before, right? Like we shouldn't be making mathematical errors. But if you have a difficult change order, right? Use one of your peers. Hey, can you review this? You did the same thing in 3rd grade when you wrote a book report, right? Hey, give it to your neighbor, let them peer review it, and stuff like that. So I think in our world, it really comes a lot with whose money you lose, right? And that's the biggest thing. Outside of labor.
Tell you what, as I got older, at least I felt, in order to be successful, you gotta treat it like your money. Nowadays, like when I hit that water main, it was like whatever. But
extreme ownership, right?
Extreme
ownership. And
it's my money, it's my company. You treat it like
I think
your
it's
own.
easy and I don't want to speak for you guys, but I feel like it's easy for us to do that because we hold that near and dear because we're just trying to be better, always be better, right? So, I mean, I started, my only project that I actually managed was the restaurant in terms of construction, and that was my first real taste of deadlines, sequencing, township, just wrangling in trades.
your initiation.
And then I did another project for a friend, and I did the physical work start to finish, and that was kind of all the actual experience I had. Other than that, I followed my buddy around in his truck for the first 6 months, just listened and just absorbed everything he was doing. And I would say, okay, identify this as a process. How do I streamline this? This is a process. How do I streamline this? Where is he falling short that I can, kind of rethink it and put it into play? So it's always like, yeah, you do your job great, but there's always room for improvement.
Well, that's not the name of the game with project management. It's continuous improvement, extreme ownership, right? Every stage, every phase of the project, right? Where there's something that can be done, can we do it better for next time, right? 7 years, I did over 300 projects. This time I can tell you things we did better on every single one of them, right? And you can make mistakes. You just have to fail forward, right? Like me and Mario Mac, right? You could tell details of the mistakes you make. Those are ingrained in our heads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
we strive to be better each day, to do better, and that should be everyone's goal.
Do
right?
me a favor. Explain one specific instance that you failed forward and how you actually implement the forward side, right? Because every time I fail or I come up short or I know things are tense so my buddy explained to
I
me
got a good
because
example of
I
that this
couldn't-
week. I did.
At the beginning of this process, I couldn't take the emotion out of it because I took such extreme ownership that I felt like everything was an attack. So it was affecting me heavily because I just wanted to succeed. So for me, it took a lot for me to get the emotion out of it. And eventually, I know every project manager, you just have to become numb. Like, you know, you could spot a failure that's going to happen
Me
3
and Mac
weeks
are nodding
ahead.
yes, very heavily. Yeah.
3 weeks ahead, and you know it's going to happen. It's like a asteroid. You know it's coming. How do I soften the blow?
So, I'm gonna give a quick analogy here. Bruce Wayne, right? My man could do it. He's a millionaire, billionaire, and take over Gotham, the whole world, probably, right? In the movies when we watch him, right, he knows that he's gotta do. He knows he's Batman, but he can't react that Bruce Wayne is Batman, right? He's got to maintain his Bruce Wayne composure, right? But when he's Batman, he can do his Batman stuff. And you just got you have to learn to take the emotion out of it. There's no reason, right? No one's gonna die probably from what we're doing. It's cabinetry, right? It's electrical work, right? We'll take care of them to a certain
I'm
point.
doing like additions and structural work these days, so
Yeah.
it's
Again, no one's gonna die, right? We might have an error. We'll fix it with a change order, right? We'll properly negotiate those terms. But you gotta learn. Take a deep breath. Focus on the solution, right? Own the problem. Understand what happened, and move forward. And you just can never make that mistake again. And if you do, you have to understand the root cause of it. So
That's a
Mac?
good definition, of falling forward or, extreme ownership. But for me, the industry I'm in now, we're built off efficiency. Efficiency is profitability. So if I have a job that doesn't hit its efficiency numbers, we're based off hours. Where did we fail?
Yep.
I work with multiple teams.
or what was the cause? And was
Root
this-
cause again. Yep.
Yeah.
Why did this job fail? What part of the job failed? What was the root cause? I work with multiple teams, and what's great is we open communication, sharing knowledge. So what did we do that day that team did differently that caused them to hit, and we didn't? And you learn from it. You fall forward. You don't try not to do it again moving forward. But that's how we deal with it, at least in the industry I'm in right now. It's we didn't hit it on this one, but why? What did maybe the team Nick was with that day did differently? Because they hit. What are we gonna learn from them? What did they do that was differently? What did they do that was safer, more efficient? What tools did they use? So on and so forth. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at now with what I do every day on the daily, where we're learning from each other and we've hit a stride.
Those are
But if
always
we
good.
don't,
The ebbs and flows.
Well,
yeah,
And Mac and I don't think have even really discussed what we do there regularly, and I can agree. I could do the same exact thing with him. I tell all my direct reports, all my PMs, and that they're on my projects. I want to work to keep them steady state. So when they escalate things, issues to me, it's my job to drill in around that root cause. What happened here that had this issue, made this error occur? And I want to educate all parties, not just my guys, but all the ones involved. What can we do better next time to avoid that?
that's a big thing. At least what I do, sharing the knowledge.
Knowledge share.
Sharing
You got
knowledge.
collaboration, knowledge share, and again, the people we work every day. We work hard. You can't knock your guys every time they make a mistake, man. Things are gonna happen.
You gotta do. I found out that it's, so my what I was trying to say before. I don't think I finished. My boss, and he's been my best friend since 7th grade. So we have a very strong history together. He goes to. He told me because my biggest, I guess, not point of contention was dealing with clients' emotions, right? So you have to, you set the expectations, but you also have to manage those expectations and those emotions from them, and that's what was knocking me down mostly. And he goes, listen, dude, you're gonna experience every single type. There's a finite amount of types of clients because you're gonna experience every single one. So just log it in the back of your mind, and then when you get, your 15th client, oh, she reminds me a lot of so-and-so, and I really, in the
Your little
ninth
black
hour,
book.
I screwed up that one.
Mhm.
How do I set this up? And then what I realized was it's not just the client's emotions. I got to deal with the subcontractor's emotions, my internal employees' emotions, my own emotions towards the project. And it's, all right, this emotion or thing I'm feeling or roadblock that I'm hitting reminds me of this time. What did I do then? How can I set myself up sooner to soften that blow or, reposition myself?
And when that comes with being proactive, right? A good PM has his pulse on everything. They understand where it is and understand the functions of what that is. And if you can be proactive and stay ahead of that stuff, that's going to help you a lot in the long run. Because you can gauge those temperatures, understand the variables or the issues that might arise there. At their end. First mic drop. It's
Wasn't
okay.
me this time.
That's okay. We got our second bleeper here.
Our paint cans aren't cut.
No, it's all right.
Honestly,
We'll
these
get
are high-tech mic stands.
there. They are. They're infallible.
You don't see these on many other shows.
You really don't, and they're sorely missed.
We'll sign them and send them to you guys. So let us know.
Yeah, sign them and send them. We're taking donations for studio equipment.
But yeah, again, I think as PMs we just need to take the emotion out. It's the hardest part, and then when you work with more customers, you absolutely understand the strategy to dealing with different types of people. And again, I think that's what makes it fun, right? If we dealt with the same problem all the time, I think it's boring, man. I gotta work for another 35 years before I retire, right? Yeah, I'm not even 35 years old, okay?
You might just run away one day.
Dude, it was hard enough going to school for as many years as we freaking did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to do that anymore.
All right, so to transition, because I like to think that we're all anybody that their work is project management or their attention to detail has to be so high that I feel like we nerd out on certain things, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
I'm sure Mario nerds out on motors and Mustangs and all that kinds of stuff.
Not organizing his garage.
Not honestly, this looks like my brain.
Hey, I'll tell you what, this is as organized as it's gonna get.
Nobody's got a garage like Nick Black though. That thing is incredible.
Chef's kiss.
I think it's all like garage goals. He's also got the furniture in there that looks like it came with the house.
Well, no, that was just for the party. That stuff. There's no one allowed to sit in my garage.
Shout out to seeing a lot of my stickers in your guys' garages. I like
Oh, yeah.
that. I like
Absolutely.
that.
Boom.
We put Santeria on the map anytime you want.
Yes, sir.
Porta potties across the tri-state too.
Yes,
So when and I did this back when I started building Santeria, I would just obviously YouTube is a major resource.
Totally.
I
People
would
don't use
just
it enough.
I would just research, and then when I went back to doing my buddy's parents' bathroom, I had a basic knowledge of framing, I had a basic knowledge of painting, sheetrock, but I also had a basic knowledge of electrical, and I just wasn't scared. I was doing all kinds of stuff outside of my comfort zone, but
We did a lot of soldering that day,
Oh,
if
yeah.
I recall.
and now I've seen multiple videos where I'm like, dude, I could just do this right now real quick. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just so comfortable with not being comfortable
Mhm.
and not knowing the answer, but knowing I'm going to find it, that I'll do anything at this point. But
I don't go.
so my thing was, I spend a lot of time outside of work, and I don't log it, but it's for personal development, I guess. I've watched a lot of YouTube videos about things, try to figure out, like now I nerd out on YouTube videos on, office stuff like templating Excel sheets, different apps to use for
Pivot
productivity. I still have no idea how to do a pivot table, but
I'll show you.
you know what I mean? I nerd out on, I got an iPad for work with the Apple Pencil. All right, what's the best note-taking app I can do? What do I have to do to use it? How can I adapt different technologies in to help me do my day-to-day tasks? Because, I'm fortunate enough to be at a place where they listen to those new ideas, and I can bring in that new technology and basically pitch it, and they give me the opportunity to try it out. It's not like I'm at one of these big places that they already have it set and you have to deal with this archaic technology or these archaic processes that could be streamlined better, but they won't allow you to change it.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some things that you guys do outside of work to have, I guess maybe transfer level up in a sense? I'm sure you were project managers on a lot less jobs before. Now you're running teams. How did you get yourself there or position yourself there outside of work?
So, with project management, like I said before, you can apply it to all the aspects of what we do. Building your shed. Building your, doing a project in your house, like when you redo your laundry room or something like that. So one of the things I did was I tried to be consistent with my practices, right? What I did professionally, I could apply that to my personal life, right? So I continued to refine, tweak, understand. To this day, if you go in my kitchen, there's probably 3 calendars. There's a week breakdown Monday through Sunday of what food we're eating that
dude,
night.
I noticed that at the last party. I was like, dude, that's crazy. And then I'm like, where's the box with all the cards? Do they eat the same stuff all the time?
There's a drawer of cards. There's a drawer of cards. My wife is
which one is
fantastic with
Nick
organizing.
not like that she makes where he's like, Tim, it's this
I'm
day
going to
again."
Bill's that night. Yeah. I'm going to get some boneless wings.
Don't say it, she might listen.
So, also, again, like, talk about my garage. You go in my toolbox, every single drawer is specifically laid out, to OCD levels, and that's exactly how I am with the level of detail I do with project management.
Yeah, but do you teach yourself anything outside of work?
Yeah. So
that will help you at work.
Absolutely, yeah. So, like, a lot of the stuff that I try to do with the podcast as far as organizing details, I've tried to use different tools, OneNote and stuff like that, which I'm very much a notes guy. OneNote is a program in the Microsoft Office suite that I don't really typically use.
I don't use it anymore at all. I tried. It was so confusing for me.
Yeah, it's a little bit cumbersome.
Shout out to PJ. PJ turned me on to GoodNotes.
GoodNotes
for
is...
the iPad.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only downside is, and they're trying it as a beta now, but I can't convert it to a laptop. So when I'm in the field, it's great. I do all my consultations and I export it to a PDF done. I can do all my markups. I do everything on it. But then when I'm in the office and I'm sitting at the computer and I'm like, all right, dude, let's really put some power into this. I'm like, damn, I gotta go back to the iPad. It's an extra step.
Yeah. So as far as like what do I do outside of work, I think I give myself, again, to your point, YouTube, right? I push myself to do things at home, right? Self projects. And Sean, shout out to you. You're great with this. Sometimes I'll ask Sean for help for something, and he'll be like, nah, you got that. You don't need it. And I'll be like, really? And he'll be like, dude, figure it out. You know what to do.
Sean's a man of little words.
Yeah, he also just doesn't want to help, which is cool. I know he's got a full plate. No worries.
Yeah, you got this, dude.
Yeah.
But call me if you need some help, but don't call me.
So again, you can do it. You watch YouTube, to your point, right? And you fail forward. You make some mistakes. It's my first house. I'm not going to be perfect. Go ahead, Matt.
YouTube. It's so. I think
Rock
it was the
and
first
roll
time,
with that, dude.
That's the
YouTube.
first time you were here, Rico, right? Everything in there, like the plumbing. I did work for a contractor before I got into everything I do now, but he taught me a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I don't hire anybody to do anything. It's YouTube. Challenge myself with whatever the task may be. Putting in the hood bed. I had an idea. YouTube did. You know what I mean? If I'm trying to level up and something don't work, it's preparing myself for that task, learning it, YouTubing it. It's you gotta like you say, you gotta build that passion for it and study it.
Well, yeah. Also, if you're pushing yourself personally consistently, I feel like you're going to push yourself professionally. Like when I was a PM, there was never a project I didn't say no to. I said, yo, give it to me. I'll take care of it. I wouldn't even read the contract sometimes. I'd just be like, all right, I'll take it, whatever. I'll make my way. So sometimes when I get those projects at home, I'm like, let me at least try to tackle this first.
Yeah.
Like my father-in-law the other day, I love the man. I have an external hard drive, which I'm using to help manage all the data of our podcast here. And it's not formatted proper, or it wasn't formatted properly to work with a Mac. So he was like, just buy one that works with a Mac. And I'm like, I'd rather I know I can reformat this drive, and I don't have to buy one. I don't drop another $100.
But I gotta figure out what's on the drive.
Exactly. So now I gotta figure out what's on the
Probably
drive.
formatted for your PS4, but
It was formatted for a Windows machine, of course. So and now my work machine doesn't.
that was old.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well,
So
Windows.
USB 2.0.
Yeah, it's 2.0. Well, I was able to figure it out and do it, but like I put myself through the motions of trying to figure it out versus just take the easy way out of it. And that's something I think we can all do is just don't take the easy way out of things. Because I think you teach yourself some things, and just because you're out of school doesn't mean you can stop learning.
If you take the easy way out, you cut corners. You're never gonna learn. You're never gonna get better.
Yeah.
Gotta challenge yourself. You
It makes you feel good.
gotta take pride in what you're doing.
Exactly, pride.
Gotta take pride in what you're doing.
You have to.
And I think as we've all gotten older, you get that more and more. As you get older, that at least for me, back in the day, I didn't care as much.
But plus,
You
also,
know.
Mac, I love when you probably walk into your shop, right? Yo, hey guys, I tried to put the vent in, right? My kitchen painted the wrong color, right? They also understand, right? There's a little hubris to you there, right?
Oh,
You're their
yeah.
leader.
Oh,
you
yeah.
fail sometimes too. Is it the end of the
100%.
world? No. Look, I'm also happy to talk about the mistakes I make. You know, it's okay.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Everybody fails, but you learn, you get better. It's the only way you get better. You
Absolutely.
learn from mistakes. You learn from your failures. Nobody's perfect.
And that's probably the one thing I would just kind of, you know, summarize on my response to this is take things one day at a time. Hopefully no one's going to die from the mistakes you make. And please learn from them. Don't be continually making the same one. Have respect for yourself and the people around you that you're smart enough to know what you're doing and take care of it. All right? And show it for the people around you. Just have a little bit of care. If everybody had a little bit of care in the shit we did these days, it'd be a much different planet. I'll tell you that much.
All right, so when you're at work and everything's on fire, it's one of those weeks or months, or you know you're not flowing, you're fucking downfalling. Everything's on fire. Everything you touch, everything another team touches is on fire, and the pressure's just unbearable. How do you deal with that stress? And B, which you know I'm sure we all learn, and you guys could give me tips, but how do you make sure you don't bring it home? What are the little routines, the little knickknacks?
I didn't see that part of the
little-
question.
The little,
I got it.
the little things that you know that you're like, all right, I got to go do this and this for me, in order to come home in a mind state where I'm not. You're still thinking about it, obviously, but you're not letting it affect other people.
That is, you can ask my wife, probably my biggest, I don't even know if you can call it a flaw right now. I bring it home every day, every weekend. What I do, I take it to heart. It matters to me. I bring everything freaking home. I come home sometimes with an attitude. I'm sorry, babe, but she knows it. She knows it. And you know how I deal with the stress? I need to work more. I need to get the job done. I need to get further ahead in my work. I don't like falling behind. I take it home, and it's not good. It's not the answer
The
at
answer
all.
is not to work more. And
It's not, but
Yeah.
that makes me feel better. So if I left, you know, Friday, I left and shit ain't done. The only way I'm gonna feel better is if I work more and get it done, and I take it home. It is. I don't have a good answer for that question because that's just me and that's my personality. And I care way too much, and I'm not just saying that because we're on a mic right now, but it's the dead honest truth. I take it home, and it's not good, but I do.
For the
'Cause
listener, I can see
care.
the emotion on his face. It's you know, but I used to do that. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm a 100% perpetrator of just put my head down and work more. That's always the answer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I was taught from my parents, from outside sources. But now I learn. You know, shout out to Babe. You know, it affects people when you go home.
Yes.
And it used to be when I would just go home. All right, I'm alone. I got nobody else's emotions to manage or expectations to hit. But I just put my head down and go to work. But now it's like, all right, I have to learn how to shut it off, disconnect fully.
You gotta shift mindsets.
And it's like you're living two different lives.
Well,
Like you're Bruce Wayne and Batman.
I've gotten better because I do that. Like what I said I do it all the time. But I know it's not good.
Yeah.
So I've gotten better with trying to let it go. And when I walk in the door, phone goes away. It's family. It's focused to that. And then eventually I'll go back to it. Whatever. But you said you
You
have
do it
to
after
shut
they
it
go
off.
to sleep, don't you?
Yeah.
And she hates it, doesn't she?
No, she knows I got a job to do.
At a certain
You know
point,
what I mean? She's
if they're the
supportive.
right partner. If they
Yeah, she knows I got a
accept it.
job to do, and it's my job, and I gotta do what I gotta do. But she appreciates the fact that be present, and when everybody goes to sleep, it's fine. But be
it's-
present when I get
think
home.
It's so easy to be present, especially like I'm like you. I have 2 phones. At the beginning,
we all have 2 phones.
I did everything on my personal phone, and I was just like, I can't
Nope.
do this because
Nope. Separation.
And I
man.
still like my
One's
work
in
phone.
here.
My work phone's in the car.
My work phone's right
you know,
in there. Yeah. Yep.
My work phone shut off and off.
It's 11:30 at night. I shouldn't have it, but I still have it just in case because of that anxiety. You know.
Yeah, so I've tried to help my team build themselves up to the point where they can take care of business themselves. I have the unique opportunity to work with my wife on a day-to-day basis. So
Okay, we get it. You're succeeding.
no, I was gonna say
Incredibly right now.
bringing things home is a little bit more difficult because I talk to my wife on a daily basis and I work from home with my wife on a daily basis. But I would say, to her credit, she does a phenomenal job of not taking things home in the way I take things home. I don't. That's probably the biggest thing I've ever struggled with is even when things are going really well. Yeah, the little mistakes they still get me. I carry it home, and I don't get to leave my office. Like Mac, you got to go into the field and stuff. My office is my office. I don't leave home.
How do you deal with that? Because
I
I'm
don't know.
sure you walk by your office and you're not always thinking, oh, I could go play PlayStation. You're like, my laptop's
That's my
still open.
workstation. Yeah.
So I just built my wife a cubicle in the basement where she works from, and I kind of tried to commandeer it because I wanted to break myself out of my office because it's hard to separate myself. The same place you kind of kick back with the boys and relax and pop some heads on the Call of Duty is not the same way you can negotiate contract services, SOWs, and all that good stuff. So I don't know necessarily if I've figured it out yet. I think I'm still figuring it out. I've got a long way to go, and my office ain't going anywhere, and I'm sorry, Mom, I said ain't. I'm not going anywhere, and neither is my wife. So I just need to do a better job.
What are some little things that you'll do? Like, what do you when she's like, get the hell out of the house, go fix yourself, and then come back?
Oh, I don't think.
What do you do? Like, I want to know the nitty gritty. Stop giving me politician answers.
I give it.
You're giving me project
It was a
manager
lot of
answers.
that. It was
I got-
it's
I got-
true.
The 2 of you are deflecting.
It's true.
You
No,
just I gotta walk away, and I gotta find some tasks
Okay.
that I can complete,
You
and so
know what?
knock some
You
things off
gotta
my
feel
own list.
useful.
You're talking
You
about to
gotta
shut it
feel
off.
useful.
Well, also, I know that I indirectly get mad at my wife for things that have nothing to do with her. Right?
Yeah,
she did
you
little
bring the
things.
problems home.
Yeah.
So you're talking about what do we do to really shut it off?
Yeah, like that stress is hitting. It's you're a
What do
volcano
we do to get away?
waiting to explode, and you're like, listen, if I don't have some release somehow, some way, this is going to be worse.
Well,
Whether it be at work or at home.
Well, no, fishing for me. Fishing, you're working on the Mustang. Sunday mornings, I'll leave 5 a.m., shoot over to Seaside, fish for 2 hours, get home just in time for everybody waking up. I cook everybody breakfast. And my mind is truly shut off at that point. It's I fished, I have a podcast on, or I have Pandora on, music, and then I come home. Kids are happy to see me, and I shut it off and get away. That is my stress relief, truly.
Yeah, I gotta either go outside and mow the lawn if it's the summertime, right? And if it's 5:30, and
Sometimes it's probably way easier to
Oh,
distract
dude.
yourself.
Yeah.
5:30 comes, you can shut down because I'm at my desk. I'm not at my desk the whole day, but I'm monitoring my computer from about 7:30 a.m. to about 6 p.m. Right, and that's
Yeah.
a long time just to be doing oversight of a computer laptop workstation, and it gets to you a little bit. So that's why I love to get outside and mowing the lawn in the summer. That's where I
What do you do in the winter when the days are shorter?
well, the winter is that's where Call of Duty comes in. You know a little bit of
Yep.
that, Rico. You know,
I know.
when we don't have techs in the field, we can load up on
techs
a
in
Call
the
of
field.
Duty. So that's the other part. I love to go in, like Max said. I'll put on Madden. I'll go play Madden, play a game against a computer, put on one of my podcasts, kind of just drain my brain on something else because none of my problems are stressful for continuous days.
Yeah, for sure.
Things have solutions. We move the ball forward to ensure they don't resonate to anxiety.
We ripped it into it almost like a negative sense, but I feel like what at least I was really getting at was how I said I take it home and everything. It's what kings do in a sense, what makes you excel, what makes you better. But the true relief too is if I want to shut it off, kids, love playing with my kids. I shut it off then. I'm fully focused on playing Dollhouse and race car and whatever. Or I put on some classic rock and pop this door open and start, once I get into a project on the Mustang, I'm focused things like that, where I grab my waders and my fishing gear and I'm, just leave it all behind.
Yeah, and also nobody put a gun to my head and said, "Yo, Black, you gotta have this gig. We want to make you a PM, manage PMs, right?" I chose this. I enjoy what I
This
do.
life chose me, dude.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, but
It's the only life I got.
you're built for it, right? How many generations before us, right, got drafted into war, right? They didn't ask for that stuff. They just got put in a place, and they were here to do what they needed to do because they were responsible for doing it. So I think at the end of the day, if I can just give everything I got, take care of what I do, and I like to handle the pressure. So I expect there to be that stress with it. I just need to do a better job, of managing it on my end. Which I'm 32 years old. I'm going to continue to figure that out.
I think the one positive that I found is becoming a project manager. Your communication is a lot better.
It has to be. It
Yeah,
has to be.
it has to be.
So
It has
when
to
you
be.
go home and it's on your mind and you're like, you're able to say like, listen, I'm sorry, this isn't towards you. This is me dealing with me right now, and I haven't done it yet.
You got to be able to say that and own it, and make sure that you're not doing it all the time.
Yeah.
And I might be
Doing it over
guilty
all the
of
time
that.
is, that's the name of the game. You're not gonna wake up and not have projects one day. Like that's not gonna happen.
And especially when our job is problem solving in a low key rate. But yeah, no, I agree with that. You ready to switch it up a little bit there, Mac?
You want to pivot?
Let's go to trivia.
It's a hard
So-
transition, guys.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
we
It is.
had-
It's.
Well,
Wait, hold
before
on.
we go into
I think I need to get another drink before we pivot hard.
here we go. Now, when Matt called me this week, he told me he had a new idea for trivia, and as I did sway a little bit back in the day with the either or, I'm gonna give Mac a little bit of imaginative, creative. What would you call it?
Freedom.
Freedom? Exactly. Thank you, Rico. That's the word I was looking for. So go ahead, Mac. Explain to us what trivia is today, or your remix of it.
All right. Well, as everybody knows, we usually do. I'm giving Mac Black trivia, or he's giving me trivia, but we have a special guest today. So,
I was trying to use the sound machine thing, but
Didn't
we had
work.
an ad. Yeah, go for it.
thanks for interrupting. No, but so we have a special guest here today, and I wanted to have our guest participate in our trivia. So instead of trivia today, we're doing a little bit of catchphrase. So it's Mac Castle catchphrase.
We've never had sound effects before.
I like the sound effects. So, all right. So for our guest as well as you, Mr. Black. So trivia. So you are both going to get lists that you have not seen before.
Wait, time out. You call this trivia. I don't necessarily think it's
no,
trivia.
catchphrase.
Okay.
So-
I hate playing this game with my family. I just want to let you know that.
And,
I've never played it.
All right.
You've never played it?
So
You
this
should
is what it
consider
is,
yourself
and I'm going to
thankful.
give him my example I gave you.
Okay, give me your little head
Yeah.
nod one more time.
So-
I'll smack that face.
Yeah,
You're-
He was
the
so
neck
against
See
movement-
that?
The
He
neck
was-
movement was
He was
Oh.
so against it. But so, what it is, I'm going to give you a list that's somewhat catered to him, but it's a list of words, and you have to describe them without saying the word, and he has to guess them within 60 seconds.
How many questions does he have to give me in 60 seconds?
You
It's
each have
phrases.
8.
Phrases.
Well, just a word. There's just a word. So there's 8 each. You have 60 seconds.
He can't.
And
I
he-
can't
and-
say the word.
You can't say the word. You have
This
to
is like that
describe
game with the pictures, right?
it.
It's basically charades without
Yeah, just words.
without actions.
Oh, it's like the heads up game.
I guess so. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
I asked
So-
I asked Mac, I said, did they get some
Just-
free beer and
can
hot
we-
wings?
just
and he goes, yeah.
well, just like with trivia, the audience can play along.
Just like
with
every
this.
good idea came from somebody else.
Yeah. Well, just like with this, the audience can play along. So, I've came up with a list for each of you.
Oh, because they can do it on their
Okay.
own.
Like they can guess on their own. You know, they can shout it out, have fun, and play as well, just like our guest. So I have a list for each of you.
Can we pass? Like, can
You
we
can-
skip?
Like
You
You're
gotta
doing
come back
trivia.
to it.
you could skip and go back. Yeah,
Do we
you
have a
could skip
time
and go
limit?
back. 60 seconds.
60 seconds.
on the clock to get as many as you can.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Who's
So
going first?
who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Wait, I gotta say these to him, or he's got, or what?
So you
what's-
each have a list. So for example,
Oh god.
Oh god. I really hope we can process this video because you guys
let's
should just see his
say
body
the
language.
topic was food, and the one I had on my paper
Taco
was
Bell.
let's say carrots. So now, if you were the one I'm playing against, I have to describe carrots. They're long, they're green. Bugs Bunny eats them.
They're
You'd
green?
be like
Carrots are
carrot,
not green.
orange,
Carrots are not-
orange.
There
Sorry,
we go.
orange. But you'd be like carrots. You know what I mean? All right, Rico
It'd
got
probably
one.
be like string bean, but Bugs Bunny doesn't eat those.
No, yeah. So I said green. My bad.
Popeye.
But you get where I'm going.
Yep.
So who wants to?
I'll go first. I'll give the word first. He's the guest.
All right. So this is
This better be
having
spicy
second-
mac and
I'm
not
having
is-
secondhand anxiety over
this
it.
is Black's list for Rico,
Oh, we're
and
saying
the
it to each other.
subject
Got it.
the subject is restaurants.
Oh boy.
I tried to cater it a
Oh
little bit.
god.
So
I know
You hear
nothing
that
about
pun there?
restaurants.
He
I've
tried
never
to
worked
cater
in a
it?
restaurant. I go to them to eat.
all right. So here is your list.
Here's your
Okay.
catered
Hold on.
list.
Wait a minute. Don't go yet.
Unintended.
So whenever you're ready,
Oh wait, I have to say it first?
you have to guess
I'm gonna
whatever
give
he's
you
Oh,
describing.
then how is that him going first?
I'm gonna give
It's
you.
not. I guess
I'm
it's
going
not.
first.
I guess it's not.
Alright.
So whenever you're ready, I will start the timer.
Ooh, I'm not ready.
I will tell you
Okay, wait. This is famous restaurants.
famous
Oh,
restaurants.
so it's
famous
names of restaurants.
Name of restaurants.
Got
yes.
it. Got it.
All right, ready?
Fail
In
horribly.
3, 2, 1.
The old dude with white hair.
Kentucky Fried Chicken.
It's red and yellow. You can get a Big Mac.
McDonald's.
The Jared dude who looked at kids.
Subway.
It's not Thursday. It's
Fridays.
nobody does their pizza like.
No, you said
Domino's.
pizza. No, you
Pizza
said
Hut.
pizza.
Pizza Hut.
You
Oh.
can't say the word.
All right, I'm sorry.
Go to the next one. Go to the
All
next one. Go to the
all
next one.
The little redhead.
Ooh, Wendy.
Yep.
Her
It's not a-
tweets.
It's
are
not a
always on
strawberry
fire.
butterfly, but in.
Wait, say that?
It's not a strawberry butterfly, but in.
Huh?
You can get really cheap margaritas there.
Huh? Chili's?
Banana.
Bread?
No,
Hell yeah.
it's not a Fridays. It's not like a Fridays, but it's a.
Applebee's?
Yep. And then we are meats.
Arby's.
Arby's, yeah.
Oh, all
Right
right.
now.
All
That was
right.
cake, dude.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cake.
I
bro.
told you I wanted spicy mac, not easy mac.
All right. Well, you got easy, but all right. Not
You
for
got
nothing. though. That
spicy
was
nuggets
good.
at
That
one.
was good.
You can get.
That was
spicy nuggets.
good. All right,
Little
dude.
redhead
Rico,
nuggets,
nice
yeah.
job.
Did you understand the strawberry butterfly
Yeah, I
Applebee?
thought these were going to be restaurants, not fast food chains.
I mean,
Ah,
Mario.
You should have
Mario
thrown in
knows.
like a Hardee's or Carl's Jr. or something we don't have around here.
I don't even know how I would explain
right.
Carl's.
We
Jr.
can.
No.
I feel like you gave me a layup on the trivia.
I didn't know if this guy would be able to describe him. Truthfully,
Ooh, touche.
I didn't know if he'd be able
I'm
to.
sorry.
I wanted to make
Say that
it.
one more
You're
time.
hearing the trash talk first
No, well, no.
on the Mac and Black.
I wanted to cater to his field of restaurants. He's a restaurant owner, and then I
know
wanted
it's
to
fast
make
food
You
it.
make,
This is catered
you
by-
make Rico sound like that's where he eats lunch every day.
No,
No, it's Taco Bell.
it's Taco Bell.
Yeah.
But I also wanted it to be achievable.
All right, let's go.
So, all right. So this is Rico's list
So
for
I get Rico and I got 7 out of 7.
no.
I said pizza.
You said pizza, so it didn't count. So you
All
got
right, make
you got
another
you
one
got
real
7
quick,
out of
real
8. 7 out of 8.
Oh, I got 7 out of 8 on a technicality.
That's his fault.
Oh, but you didn't give me an opportunity to get 8
I also
out of
thought
8.
you said there was 5.
No, I said there was 8.
And 60 seconds is way too long. I did all those in 60 seconds.
I went off what the basic games are. If you were to buy the game, that's what they give you.
I'm just going to apologize for the listener because they definitely got shortchanged on that.
Fair enough. All right. Hey,
Give me
it's a
the
game
list.
that needs improvement. But here we go. All right. So, Nick, your list is construction.
I'm ready. We're getting it.
Jesus, why did you do this to me?
All right. And ready in
Oh
three,
my god, I want to say this word so bad.
3, 2,
Oh.
1.
Wait.
Oh, all right.
I'm not ready.
All right. Tell me. Don't let him see the list. Don't let him see the list. Pick that up. I don't trust him with his 4 eyes.
I want to say this one. Can I go out of order?
Yeah. Well, no.
Yes, you can go
Don't
in
go out of order. No. Go down the list and you can skip. You can go back.
All right, let's do this.
All right, here we go. We only got one shot.
All right. Ready in 3, 2, 1, go.
What's the easiest way to break up concrete slabs?
Jackhammer.
The thong song references this as a body part, but you also bring it to a construction site when you're removing debris.
Dump truck.
Thank you. That's the one I wanted to say so bad. Dump truck.
Dump.
All right. Instead of Lowe's, you'll probably go to this one.
Home Depot. I would never go to Home Depot over Lowe's.
What is your number one brand of power tools?
Ryobi.
I catered that.
Just so you know, we are not sponsored by Ryobi in any way, shape, or form.
Go, time's ticking, buddy.
All right, if you lived on a farm and were Chip and Joanna Gaines, you would ride this to cut your grass.
John Deere.
Okay, if you showed up to a job site to do trim and you didn't have this on your belt, you're a Fallon. Ooh.
Chisel.
Nope.
If you're doing trim,
Yeah, it gives you numbers.
measuring tape.
Thank you. PJ always rides this around his warehouse.
Forklift.
And,
Time's up.
Oh, what did you do? 60 seconds for the whole thing?
Yeah. That's what the game is.
I'm sorry. Can we go back for a fact check? Because I'm pretty sure he said 60 seconds for each one thing.
Yeah. 60
No, he
seconds.
said 6 seconds for all of them.
Oh, he did?
What was the
not
last
each,
one?
not each guest. No, for all 8. For
That
all
would
8.
be bad.
No, we'd be here forever.
What was the last one?
So you got forklift. You want to describe the last one? See if you can guess it.
Yeah, I'm looking right at it.
I have no idea.
They're usually Snap-on branded.
Oh, Ratchet.
Yeah. What do you hold the ratchets at?
Oh, toolbox.
There you go.
That was it. What? That was what you thought I wouldn't guess? A toolbox?
No.
One of these days you
I
were
think he
scrap.
was subconsciously trying to call you a tool.
A little bit.
Yeah. And you definitely wanted me to tell everybody that he owns all the Ryobis in the world.
Yeah.
Everybody knows.
That one, as I said, I cater to him because he loves Ryobi.
Yeah.
Word.
All right,
I just
so
want
don't
the
get me
listener
wrong.
To know that
I
these
could've-
were shafted listas.
I could have made it a little harder. Don't get me wrong. I could have made it a little harder for you, but it was my first time introducing the game with a guest.
That's what
I don't. I know. I like your ingenuity. I like your imagination. I like where you took that.
I
mixed
did
up a
like
little
it.
bit.
It
I
was
appreciate
it was exhilarating.
I appreciate it.
I want more lists now.
We're gonna
I will
yeah,
supply
we're
more.
gonna have to
So like
edit
I said, it was the first time trying it out. I did want to include the guest. We could definitely, obviously, make it a little bit more difficult,
Alright,
but I
so-
wanted to make it achievable.
I got a thing that we can try. I don't know the logistics of it, but I'm throwing it out here live. How about user-generated trivia topics?
Yeah, and we would love for people to write in and be
Write in
like
trivia questions.
I have
Yeah.
taken when I get the
Yeah,
emails.
but do both of you see the emails or only one?
Right now, just
Whoa.
him.
Okay,
He runs.
so you
He runs
filter.
email. I run Instagram.
Okay, so
Yeah.
listener, you can send in, email in your trivia questions for Mac.
to
Yes.
Black
Somebody
by
give me-
Gmail.
Give me the
Well,
Mac
email
and Black
address.
Gmail.
Here's the thing,
21@gmail.com.
though. I mean, I don't know if the listeners
And if-
trust you, but
If Mac
you were,
doesn't get the answer to the question, they'll send you some merch.
that's good too. But what I was gonna say, if you do want to stump or try to stump both of us, as long as you label the email trivia, he won't open it until the show.
Oh, I was just gonna say, email me, DM you.
Yeah, DM you. Oh, I
Oh
was
yeah,
thinking about the
yeah.
same
That,
thing.
okay, yeah. That's perfect.
Yeah, because then we can
That's
really
perfect.
qualify.
So okay, honest, to radio show gamey. Should I have made it a little harder? Bring it to the next guest. What do you guys?
I like the game. I think you should have went a little like the trivia. You honestly,
Little harder.
I've only answered maybe 3 or 4 out
Okay.
of all yours trivias.
Okay,
So I think you should just make it a little harder.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Like a radio miter saw.
Well, I didn't want to be
one
like
of
the
things
first
that he
question you
described.
spent 60 seconds on, but fair. Understood.
To be
Got
honest,
it.
I want to go back to the videotape because I'm almost positive you said each.
No, it's
Well,
definitely
no, he
60
ran out
for
of
all.
time. That's what it
Yeah.
was. He ran out of time.
It's all good.
So
But
we both
hey,
got
all
7
right.
out of 8.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, brother.
Good job,
Hey,
guys.
again, I'm glad we were able to do that, including the guest action. I like that.
Yeah,
You know? I
yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
the pivot there, the change up, Mac. It's never a bad thing. All right, there, ladies and
Better than
gentlemen.
carrots.
Well, I know we talked about in the agenda that we're going to hit maybe a few more topics today, but I probably think we're going to save those for next episode,
Yeah.
as we've definitely hit the 90-minute mark here on today. So, with that, I want to give a big shout out to the Rico, Myth the Man, the Legend. He is one of our true best friends. We love him to death, and we're glad you were here to join us today. Appreciate
Thank you for having me. Thank you
Ab-
for having me, guys.
Absolutely. I'm glad we got you some airtime, talk about some of the great things you're doing. Mac, what you got? Any closing words?
Just appreciate having you. As always, thank you everybody for listening, writing in, supporting the Instagram, supporting the show. Rico, it's been an absolute pleasure. You gave great topics. Longest podcast, probably one of my favorites. I'll step it up on the games. But yeah, thank you everybody. Big shout out to our boy PJ for his birthday. Happy birthday,
Happy
buddy.
birthday, PJ.
Happy birthday.
Let it rip, bud.
Big shout out to our man Big Stimp. Hope you're doing well. And yeah, just thank you and appreciate everybody listening. Episode 12, another one wrapped up.
Absolutely.
12 is my favorite number.
Perfect. Well, I'm glad
This
you're
was
here
meant
for
to
it.
be. This was
And-
meant to be.
And these guest episodes should be a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying? We should take the time to do it right for him. So let's go from there. All right, everybody. This is Mac and Black signing off with special guest Rico. We hope you enjoyed today. Enjoy tomorrow. Take it one day at a time. If you have anything that you need to say, let us know. Write it in. Mac and Black Gmail. You know what it is. MACandBlack21
And find us on Instagram, Mac and Black Podcast on Instagram.
Absolutely. Black, Mac, out. Peace,
Boom.
brother.
Let's go.
Rico,
See
thank
you
you.
guys.
Thank you,
for
brother.
having me.
Peace.
Woo!